Hello everyone. So today I am going to show you how to implement this 3D printing effect in Unreal Engine. So as you can see here, initially we only have a hologram of this gun weapon, and this is how it looks at the beginning, and it like a hologram, and after that it will turn into a solid object like this. So it's somewhat like a 3D printing a weapon. So later on I am planning to implement something like you see in the SubNautica game, where you can print various items and use them. So yeah, that's the direction I am heading with this system. Alright, so let's see how to do this today. And this episode is sponsored by 𝐻𝐴𝐷𝐻𝐿. Thank you very much for your support. So this project is based on this initial tutorial I did on how to create a holographic material. As you can see here, hologram material in Unreal Engine is the name of the tutorial. I'll leave the link to this tutorial also in the description below. So this is the material that I am going to start with. We are going to do some modifications, but we will be starting with this material. And you can download the project files of this project and all other thousands of projects that I have done from my Patreon page. Once you become a member, you can download anything without a limit. To the date, there are over 1,000, closer to 2,000 videos, and for each video, project file is accessible. Alright, now let's get back to today's tutorial. Right, so this is where we stopped the last tutorial. Now let me turn back the lights on so that we can get back, start working on the 3D printer. So for this I'm gonna use one of the weapons available with Lyra project. Now if I drag and drop this mesh, you can see it like this here. So okay, and also let me open my holographic material, 𝐒𝐻𝐿. So here you can see we have a holographic shape, holographic cloak, and I'm not going to explain how did I come up with these nodes because I have already explained it in the previous videos. So what I'm gonna do is just use this material and create an instance for the weapon so that I can create a holographic material for the weapon. So here is the material instance. This is the material instance. So let me duplicate this in my weapon shotgun. I'll call it holographic like this. Alright, now if I open this material, as you can see here, let me copy this albedo texture, and as the parent material I'll set 𝐻𝐻ologram. Now here by default we have the texture of the mannequin because that's what I have as the default texture. Let me paste that copied material, that copied texture. Now you can see we have the texture of the gun, and let me assign this this material instead of the hologram, instead of the solid material we had. But it does not look correctly because in order to work with this holographic material we need to enable rendering in custom depth for this object. That's when we get the proper holographic look. Let me put this in the shadow so it's more clear. Okay, now this is fine, but here let me modify the opacity a little bit. What if I make it 1? Here you can see as I change this value, the opacity of this hologram changes. Okay, now it's totally non-transparent. So I'll leave something like this, about 2. We can still see behind it. So yeah, this is good. Okay, now the next thing I want to do is, in order to create the, now the way I'm planning to do is make this holographic material disappear from downside and make the solid material appear starting from the bottom. So first let's see how to make it fade from bottom to top. For that, let's go to the main material, and here this is the bottom fade that we have created, but it's not completely cutting off. So I'll have a similar setup. I'll first get the absolute world position, and get only the Z component, and from this I'll subtract the object position, and from here I only need to access the Z component. That means do a component mask and get B component. Right, after that, if I directly subtract it from here and clamp the output in between 0 and 1, then let's multiply this opacity value here with the output we get here. Then I'll connect it like this. Now as you can see, half of the object has disappeared. See, half is disappeared. Now what we need to do is moving this, the line that disappears. So to define that, here let's add a value, and I call it, let's promote this to a parameter, mask, what should I call it, mask depth. Yeah, let's call it mask depth. Now if I change this to, let's see here, 0.1, no, 1, now change 10. Yeah, see, as you can see, as I increase this, it moves up. If I make it a minus value, like minus 20, you see it moves down. See, minus 100. Okay, now by default I'll leave it at minus 100 and apply. Let's see. Yeah, now the weapon is fully visible. Okay, also let me make a copy of this weapon, and then here I'll assign the default material it had. And for this, now let's go to the material parent weapon, and let me copy this, what should I call this, fade line, I'll call it. I don't have any better name. Then I'll copy it here, but this material is an opaque material, so I'll make it a masked material so that we can get the, oh, it already had the opacity mask. No, it doesn't. Okay, masked. Now let me paste that, and then so here we clamp, so we need to invert this. If I directly connect this to the opacity mask, as you can see here, it's fully visible, and if I make this value 0 half invisible from the bottom. But if I make this 1 minus and connect to the opacity mask, the top side should be visible. No, bottom side should be visible. See? So right now, as I fade out the hologram, if I fade in the solid weapon, then we can have something like a 3D printing being printed effect. Okay, so to simulate this, now I'll select both these meshes and let's create convert selection to blueprint print class. I'll choose harvest components option and let's create we have BP folder, P weapon printer. Okay, all right, now here we have these two weapons. I think saving, so I'll SK holo, let's name this, and SK solid, and I'll put the solid one under the holographic one, so wherever we move it, it would be in the same position, right? And then I'll add a custom element, print weapon. Here let's add a timeline and I'll connect, just in case, I'll connect play from start. In the timeline, the total length is 5. Let's add a float track and let's add a key. At time 0, I'll set value to -1, and at the end, which is at 5 seconds, I'll set the value to +1. Okay, now we can use this timeline value to control the parameter that we defined in the materials. Here we define mask depth and we use the same parameter name for the weapon also, so we can update this mask depth through the timeline like this. On the update, I'll set scalar parameter value, no, scalar parameter value on materials. So select both meshes and the parameter name is mask depth and the value is here. Instead of new track, I'll make this value, but this is changed from -1 to +1. And as you have seen for the weapon, if I here if I make this mask depth, let's try -20, only half visible, 20, oh no, that's here, -20, half visible in this sphere, but for this one it's fully visible. Okay, how about -10? Okay, I think it's starting to fade in here. Okay, so that means 20, I think we can use 20 as the fully visible and invisible depth. So I'll multiply this with here, let's add the parameter. I'll call this object height from the center of the object. Now the value should be half of the height, so I'll define height as 40, because as we saw, 20 is the mark where we completely see and completely unsee. Minus 20 is the completely unsee value for the mask depth. So get the object height, multiply it with 0.5, because we need a half, and connect here and connect to the parameter. Now in the begin play, let's give a delay of, let's say, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, and print weapon. Okay, now here let's simulate. See, it changes. Okay, also I think we need to set the initial values properly. So let me copy this and go to construction script as the initial value. Now we don't need this multiplier. I'll set the object height. I think we need to use minus 0.5. Now we see full weapon as the hologram by default, because we are overriding in this whatever the value we have for the mask depth in the construction script. Okay, now if I simulate, say it starts filling from the bottom. Right, now the next thing is, now we need to polish this a little bit. Even though we have the most important part, let's make it look a bit nicer. Also, I have imported this spawn pad mesh, so let me put this here. It's too big. The center. Well, we can leave this at the bottom, but I think we should make it smaller. So let's say 0.5. Okay, that's good. And I'll move the weapon up. Okay, yeah, good. And I'll duplicate this, move up, and rotate it. So we got 2. Great. It's not visible from the top though, but that's fine. Okay, and also I have imported some Niagara effect, NS gun pad. This is also from Lyra project, so let me put this also here. And it's red. I don't really want it to be red, because we are using a kind of a bluish theme, so I'll make it like this. It goes too high. Okay, this is good. Alright, now it looks like this in the level. Now let's make the weapon rotate. So I'll add a new scene. Let's call it weapon root. It should be under the shared root, and I'll put the 𝐒𝐴 hollow under that. Why there is a rotation. Okay, that's fine. Okay, all right. Now if I want to rotate it, here in the we already have the event tick here. I'll just get the weapon root, add relative rotation. So I just need to rotate this along yo. So let's multiply the delta segments with maybe 100 and connect to yo. Now if I play, as you can see, it rotates. Maybe not the ideal way to rotate, but this will do for now. And also, what else? I need to have some kind of a printing effect. So for that, let's add a cube that goes left and right like this mouse, so that we can see it's like printing. So let's add a cube. It's too big. Let's 0, 1. Okay, I'll put that also under the SK hollow. Right, and it's not visible. Let's make it 1. Okay, maybe 0.5. Right, and instead of this material, where is the default material? It's an engine material. Okay, let's not change that. Here, let's add a new material. Oh, it's under effects, but that's fine. Emissive, and I'll change this to unlit and promote this to a vector parameter color. So all we need is some bright bluish color, so I'll make it like this and assign to the cube. Okay, now what I need to do is moving the cube like this. So for that, in this same timeline, let's get this value and multiply it by something like 5000, and then so the limits of this cube, it's, if I add more 40, it's in this end. Okay, if I set minus 40, it's at this end. So 40 is the the total distance it should move from left to right is 80. So let's go back here, and I'll consider the absolute value, and then I'll get the modulus value of this from 80. Then we can get the cube and set relative location of the cube. Well, here we only need to change for now y component, and also this would give it an offset. Let's see. Okay, so to get rid of that offset, here I'll add minus 40, so we can recenter it. yeah, and also it stays in the middle, but it should move along with the solid and holographic edge. So for that, here we have the value and the object height multiplied with it. I think if I just directly connect this to the to the Z, it should work. See, now it starts from the down and moves up. Okay, so I think we should leave it invisible in the beginning. I'll make it hidden in game and then make it visible before we start the printing process. So get the cube, set hidden in game to false, and then select it at the end, set hidden in game back to true. Alright, now let's see what happens. See, now we get it when the printing happens, and then it goes. Okay, alright, so that's all I want to do for this episode, and thanks for watching. Updated project files will be available for the download in the Patreon page. Link would be in the description below, and see you in the next episode. Goodbye.